Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. My name is Michael Gray, and with me today is Nicholas Uprak.
Hello. Still with you today. I haven't left.
Still with me, but people could be watching this on a different day than they watched the previous video.
What? After chapter 15, they're going to want to find out what happened right after that. There's no way.
Nicola is brought in here for I guess I would call it the Evil Sissel trilogy. We have 3 chapters
Hmm.
of Evil Sissel. The final 3 chapters of the game, if you don't include the epilogue,
Yes.
which you should, because it's important.
Yes. Yeah, it's actually called Final Chapter, so that I guess that's probably technically the final chapter.
Yeah,
But
but it's not chapter number 18. So this is
hmm
interesting. Detective Jowd calls just for Sissel.
hmm
He's like, Sissel, we need your powers, but when you get there, they don't really need his powers.
No.
I mean, it's useful to have Sissel there. Obviously, that's why he wants Sissel to go, but...
Mhm.
So Sissel was just hanging around here for like 2 hours while they snuck onto the submarine.
Yeah. So a great time to find out some of his backstory, maybe.
Would have been a good time to talk a bit more to Cabanella and Pigeon Man.
See if that could help him at all.
Learn more about the what this meteorite does. Yeah,
Hmm.
we'll find out in the next chapter.
Hmm.
Maybe they had a hidden puzzle with the 2 blue villains. How's that?
It's possible. There's like a 2-hour delay, like you said.
Yeah, he went over to Beauty and he got her arrested with Memory and everybody else. The fanfic for you. All the minor characters, work together with Sissel in these missing 2 hours to capture those guys.
I think Detective Jowd would have noticed that enormous person in the room.
Well, the lights were off. Which makes you wonder, how was he able to find and identify the telephone so easily?
Yeah. I mean, obviously he had to work that little switchboard right there, right? To get the telephone to pop out.
Yeah, unless the telephone was unless that was done sometime during the intervening 2 hours.
That's true.
This is kind of nice with Inspector Sith looking left and right. He does have a 3D model.
Hmm.
And now we're going to learn about something clever.
Hmm.
In the previous chapter, Inspector Cabanella just shot Evil Sissel.
Which seems like a terrible idea, since he should know at this point that he can't die. So why would he even do that?
And there was very little provocation, I think, at that
Uh-huh.
particular point. I would have shot him much earlier.
Uh-huh. Or I mean, I guess it would have been more clever if they put the device on him some point before he had showed up, because they had his corpse for a while, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I think I mentioned this one of the last times we were together. The scene where Cabanella he gives Detective Jowd the watch. Actually, see the animation of him throwing the watch up into the air.
Yeah, they didn't want to show that again.
Cut that out. It's like, well, why did they pay for that animation? And the game does a couple of times where they reuse animations, but then a couple of times it's like, huh.
I'm not sure if the chair spin really needs a control on that machine over there.
Yeah, well, he can't move the chair by himself because he's not here.
Like, yeah, they must have a lot of dramatic reveals.
Well, they do have controls for, moving the paintings aside and finding files.
That's true. Yeah, this country's just incredibly lazy.
Well, no, I'm thinking that's also a very dramatic reveal. It's like, oh, excuse me, he just snaps his fingers out the file to his hand. Bargaining chip. I have to say, Commander Sith's cape looks a lot cooler in the picture.
It does. That is an impressive cape.
When it's
You
on.
can't really see it on the.
And his helper, the big guy, you can barely see his cape.
He's too big. He's obscuring most of it.
Yeah.
So they just stole the Temsik fragment from his body. So it looks like you can put things into it without it immediately healing around you. So yeah, I guess I don't know what the limits of his regeneration powers are.
Yeah, well, obviously the bullet that Cabanela shot into his body is still inside his body.
That's also true.
Okay, and this was weird.
Yeah.
Room is detached from the submarine.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know a ton about engineering, but that seems like something that a submarine cannot handle, just like launching an entire room, but who knows?
Well, as we'll see later on in this video, the submarine is not going to last very long anyway.
That's true. Yeah, it's not meant to last much longer after this.
But still, they put a lot of effort into that control room, though. A lot of effort. So where is Sissel now? He's in the phone, which means he's down here. Which just makes me wonder why he did absolutely nothing during that entire scene.
He was just sort of chilling.
And how did Missile get here?
Probably followed him like a good dog.
Followed him, and he didn't do anything in the scene, or even, mention it to Sissel. Yeah, huh. Oh, well, Sissel's here. Well, let's not argue.
Yeah.
Maybe he went on his own, he was trying to find Kamila, and that's what he did during the intervening 2 hours.
That's true. He found a way to the submarine on his own.
Which explains why he didn't say anything for like the final 15 minutes of the last video. I'm gone.
I've got work to do.
Telephone.
That's usually a good sign you need to get to the telephone.
Wow! And it's totally Kamila. Missile's right. Way to go, Missile.
That's a great nose he's got there.
I mean, you'd think the fact that he's dead might have hindered his abilities, but no. This is a nice little sequence. Just a couple of puzzles.
I'm not sure why they have these assorted balls in the nets here, but I mean, it makes for an interesting puzzle at least.
Look, clearly on the left-hand side, there's a basketball hoop, which explains having the basketball there, but, I mean, why would you have baseball in a hanging hammock?
I'm not sure why they keep any of them in a hanging hammock, but yeah, it works. I'm not going to complain.
Like beds right there, so maybe that's where all the other bad guys were hanging out. Beds in the background. And this is an interesting mechanic, which has never been mentioned at all up to this point in the game. The phone actually has to be off the hook before you can use it. We've just never run into a situation where Sissel's at a phone which is ringing and nobody picked up. I have to like how Sissel and Missile just spend all this time talking rather than actually going through the phone lines to talk to her.
You think Missile have been over there right away?
You think it's like, well, let me see. She can't hear us when we talk here. Oh, isn't that interesting? Huh, what do you know?
Oh, and looks like we found Lynne dead again.
Yeah.
I mean, that should come as no surprise at this point.
Interesting how her coat seems to be floating upwards. There must be an air bubble trapped on her coat. Just noticed that. I'm still surprised that Lynne is wearing that outfit. You think she would be freezing? Because it's a night.
You think she would... Yeah, you think she might have changed into something a little less conspicuous there than the bright yellow coat?
Of course, I think Sissel, I like the snazzy suit.
That's true. Yeah, they're all very snappy dressers in this game,
Yeah.
except for Jowd. I guess he's got his frumpy painting smock on.
Yeah, well, he's a detective.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here we just sort of get rid of Missile for a while.
Yeah.
We do need your powers, Missile, but not for this puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a Sissel only puzzle, so you got to stay here.
Stay, good boy, good boy. So yeah, Missile is definitely Kamila's dog, not Lynne's dog. I think, well, at least he seems to think so.
Mm-hmm.
Which is I guess that makes sense though.
Yeah. Well, there's just a scene at the end of the game that led me to believe that he was actually Lynne's dog.
Yeah, but I mean, with our family dog, it's clearly the dog has more loyalty to some family members than others.
That is true, I guess.
So I don't think Snickers would call me his owner.
Yeah. I really have to get a Pomeranian just so I can name it Missile.
Me too. That's also, I mean, those are the two dogs I want. I want to get a Pomeranian so I can name it Missile, or I'm going to get a Copper Spaniel and name her Lady. Lady and the Tramp.
Mm-hmm.
I just want a small dog, because Snickers was a big dog, and I can't handle huge dogs. Not by myself. When you've got like family members take him out on walks, that's good.
You'd think it'd be kind of hard for people to sneak aboard a submarine, but apparently that's what Lynne and Jowd both did.
Well, it did take
'cause it wasn't
hours.
I guess that's true. When it surfaced to pick up Sissel, apparently they got on board as well, somehow.
They were just hiding in the boat, you know. Does make you wonder. Actually, no, never mind. I was gonna say, why did the bad guys even bother to come back and pick up Evil Sissel? But I guess they had to.
Yeah, he had something that they needed.
Yeah, the meteorite fragment. But do you think they could have just, stolen it from his body right then and there, rather than this elaborate plan?
Yeah. Oh well.
Well, I mean, they purposely set him up so they could steal the fragment from his body while he wasn't in the body, which makes the plan much more intelligent.
Yes. Now we've got evil Kamila, which is actually evil Sissel controlling Kamila, but she's got a scary face.
Yeah. Yeah, no eyes.
Yeah, that's the little girl from a horror game type of appearance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Evil Sissel, huh? Okay. He can just control. He can just make anybody do anything he wants them to do. He can't be injured or die. Basically, like an impossible villain.
Yeah, how are we gonna stop this guy?
Well, he can't control Sissel though. That's how we're gonna stop him, because Sissel doesn't have a body for him to manipulate. Here we go. That's our angle. But yeah, this is horrible. He was waiting for Detective Jowd to show up so he could kill Detective Jowd in his daughter's body.
Yeah, he is really taking this revenge plan to the next level.
It's interesting because Plan A was to have him be executed by the death penalty, and then Plan B is no, I'm going to shoot him with a shotgun while
with his own daughter's body.
Like, Plan B is much more elaborate than Plan A. It's like, personally, I don't think I would have come up with a Plan B, to be honest. It's like,
no, he had a very evil Plan B.
I would not have expected him to escape from jail on the night of his execution.
Well, maybe it was just sort of like a spur of the moment type thing, since he found out that they had accidentally taken Kamila instead of.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
He's like, oh wait, this is totally evil. I should do this instead.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're gonna save Lynne here. Again, I think one of the puzzles where you don't do anything, you just have to sit put. Wait for Kamila to train the gun on Lynne, because you're not close enough to reach anything else.
Yeah, you're sort of stuck here at the beginning, because the wheel there isn't turned the proper direction.
Mm-hmm. The phone is ringing. Yeah, I'm gonna distract you about this phone. Nobody ever calls for the dead. I don't know. Do people ever call for the dead?
Well, Sissel seems to have been getting a lot of phone calls.
Yeah, I have to be honest here. There was Mary Baker Eddy, who was actually... she was buried with a phone because she expected to be able to make phone calls from the afterlife.
I've never heard this before. Where'd you learn this?
Mary Baker Eddy, she invented Christian Science, the Church of Christian Science, and that was one of the things that, inspired her, because she thought she was, she thought she had all this tremendous spiritual insight.
Interesting.
Just, build her own church, but, it didn't amount to being able to make phone calls from the grave.
Oh, that's a shame. So speaking of phone calls, here you actually need to knock the phone off the hanger, like off its receiver again, otherwise you can't go through. And since you did, it completely freaks this guy out, and he thinks there's ghosts, and he just runs away.
He is just scared that somebody...
No one's talking, that must be a ghost, I gotta get out of here. He is the worst soldier aboard the ship.
One of the three.
So this puzzle's a little bit tricky just because it requires some timing to get right. Like you might miss it your first time if you don't know what you're doing.
Actually, I'm looking it up. There was no phone installed in Mary Baker Eddy's tomb. That apparently was just a false rumor, but, I mean, when they transferred her body, like a year later, or... No, wait a minute, that's not a year later. That's to January. So, like, a month later, they got rid of the phone and everything.
This has been Game Cola fact-checking.
Yeah, it's like...
You have a lot of options for your fact-checking. We're glad you choose Game Cola.
Gonna call.
So yeah, you got to get on that little Temsik capsule to be able to do anything.
Yeah, which is... You think Sissel would be able to manipulate the capsule or do something to prevent the bad guys from getting it, but no.
No, yeah, you can't hit that. You can't close it or stop it or anything. You just use it to sort of get yourself over here.
Yeah, just travel. And again, this is one of the times where you think that Sissel would do something besides just sit put and watch the bad guy get away. I think he would have learned his lesson at the beginning of this video, but he did not. Yeah, let's forget about Detective Jowd at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to him, but I'm sure it's not good. So he's got a submarine aboard the submarine?
There is a submarine aboard the submarine, yes.
You can't see it, but aboard that one there's an even smaller submarine.
Well, yeah, but, that's just for his pet puppy.
Just in case there are any rats on board that also need to escape.
Yeah. Well, I have to imagine all those guards just look packed in. There's no room for anyone else.
Yeah. So he got away, but it looks like he doesn't have any plans to allow his crew to get away, because that looks like a one-man submarine he just took.
Well, no, all his crew were inside that little window at the bottom.
Oh.
It's kind of hard to see, but I mean, there you have the faces of all his crew just shoved in that small area. So the control room has been jettisoned. Everybody else has been jettisoned.
Yeah.
And now he's going to launch a torpedo at his submarine. It's like he really, really, really wants the submarine to die.
Yeah.
I think it's good that we have this little bit of dialogue here, which tells you, hey, you're actually doing the right thing.
Yeah. Well, another good thing is if you fail, the fate change from here on out takes you back to right to the missile. You don't have to worry about having to do that little part all over again.
Yeah. And it's sort of difficult, I think, the first time to actually figure out this puzzle.
Yes, you don't have a lot of hints. Like, you probably know you have to do something with the weights, but you probably don't know exactly what you have to do right away. At least I didn't.
I don't know how torpedoes work. So
You don't?
same thing, yeah. And one of the dialogues here sort of explains how torpedoes work, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
It's when this red button gets pushed, it goes kaboom.
Mm-hmm. So you need to put the lock into place, but that stupid rat is blocking you. I don't even know how the rat got in the torpedo. Like, did they build it around the rat, or is there a hole?
If there's a hole, you think it would sink, so they built
Yeah.
a rat.
They put the rat there just in case someone was trying to manipulate it.
Mm-hmm. So you want to put both gyroscopes at the top, I believe?
Yes, you need them both at the top. If they're not at the top, then nothing happens. But when they're at the top like this, you get this little...
Yeah, when they're at the top, that causes the torpedo to turn upside down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, as you kind of saw there, you have to have really, really good timing because they stay in place for about a second and a half.
Yeah.
These gyroscopes do not stay in place very long, which I guess is realistic. Do gyroscopes move?
Well, I mean, you think if they were controlling the balance of the missile, stopping one of them would cause it to go off target? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about missile targeting systems. I did not do my homework for this video. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. So I'm looking at gyroscopes on Wikipedia, and none of them look like the gyroscope we just saw.
What? Ghost Trick lied to us?
But there is a gyroscope in the Wii Remote and the PlayStation 3 controller, so those of you who want to find out more about gyroscopes, take apart those devices.
Do not blame us if you can't put them back together.
Yeah, it's not our fault.
Yeah.
And then Sissel's like, wait, hear anything? Somebody said something about missiles?
Oh, how do you not know who that is, Sissel?
Like, neither of them recognize the voice of Missile.
He's been gone for like 10 minutes and you forgot about him? He's the best character.
Oh well, and we have another set of puzzles in this room. This is a very well-designed room, I have to say. They really worked hard on this.
Yeah, to make sure, just in case there was going to be some sort of puzzle.
But, you know, we're sort of in a different area, so that makes it work a little bit better.
I mean, I like this whole segment, too. I think it's pretty cleverly designed. So I'm not really complaining.
Okay, so this machine, I don't know what that machine is, because I don't know anything about submarines, but it looks like... it looks like the train from Back to the Future. That reminds me of from Back to the Future number 3. Balancer into gear.
I'm not sure if this is anything at all like what a submarine is, but you basically just use this to transverse the room to get over to Lynne.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's a coal-powered submarine.
They've wasted all their money on these really bizarre electronics, and money to build a modern submarine.
And Kamila's awake, yay!
Hey, and no longer possessed.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Where's Evil Sissel at this point in time?
That's an excellent question. Maybe he's trying to find out what happened to his body.
Yeah, he's probably out there and he's just hanging around doing nothing, I guess.
I guess we'll find out at the beginning of the next video what he's been spending his time on, and it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And sad, I guess.
Let's see, we erased Lynne's death. Yeah, but you think he would still... Huh. Because it was the torpedo. It was the torpedo which caused Lynne's death. So, I mean, that doesn't erase the fact that, you know, Evil Sissel had a gun to her and was planning on shooting.
Yeah. So, it doesn't... I don't think it says exactly what happens, but I'm guessing after the torpedo hit, he decides to leave to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, he decides to leave what's going on. It's like, I'll come back and shoot you later. And the gun is nowhere in sight.
I don't know how the gun got taken away.
Well, it's inside the cabinet right there.
He stashed it just for safekeeping.
So yeah, where's Missile?
I don't know. He should be around. He was supposed to be guarding Kamila.
Maybe that's it. Maybe he chased away Evil Sissel. Okay, so the water pressure is too great. Don't understand how the water pressure on the other side of the door is fantastically powerful.
Considering that this was the room that got hit, so you'd assume this one would fill up with water first.
Yeah. Oh well, there's another door. And, you know, it gives us an opportunity to have another puzzle with these items. I don't particularly like this segment because Lynne is sort of useless here.
Yeah, she just sort of... Because there's another part that's coming up that's kind of frustrating too. But yeah, she doesn't really do much other than wait for you to get a path ready for her.
Yeah, well, I just mean right here in particular. It's just like, oh, huh.
Can't reach that ladder.
Am I stuck? What am I doing here? Oh, no, gloves off. You think she could jump to reach the ladder?
Yeah, I mean, she'd have to put Kamila down, but that would at least lower it, right?
Yeah. And considering it's a retractable ladder. Wasn't Kamila awake just a moment ago? She just immediately fell asleep again?
Yeah, she did. And then Lynne yells, Kamila!
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean this. It's like, seriously, Lynne. Don't play around. Get to the door. And this just tears it for me. The flashlight doesn't work. Sissel, fix my flashlight.
Yeah, this is... Yeah, okay, because then you're going to see here in a second, you actually go and fix the flashlight.
Lynne is just very needy at this point.
She's gotten spoiled is what's happened.
Yeah. What happened to our self-reliant detective that we loved?
We broke her.
She gets held at gunshot, and then she is just no longer fantastic.
Yeah. Uh-oh. And now there goes the flashlight. That was... That's one of the stranger puzzles in the game, is turning the flashlight on.
Yeah. even though she tells you exactly what you have to do, it's like, seriously, you need to turn on the flashlight?
I mean, she loses it right after that too, so I don't even know why that scene's in there.
It's like, you think she could have just walked right to the door. Just, oh, okay. Well, anyway, Weird Lynne is gone. Now we have Cool Lynne again. So
She's back.
fantastic. Oh, the flashlight's still here. No,
Oh, you're right.
it's in the game because we needed Sissel to be in the flashlight, so he would.
Oh, yes. That's definitely it, because otherwise he wouldn't be down here too.
Yeah. But still, that's a really making Lynne purposely obtuse just to set up a puzzle. I don't like it when that happens. It happens all the time in the Professor Layton series.
Ugh.
Or maybe not. I don't know if you played the Professor Layton.
Oh, no. So I've played all the way up to Miracle Mask. I haven't played that one yet, but I've played the other 4.
But, I mean, that just bugs me sometimes. It was really apparent in the 4th game, where Layton's supposed to be the super genius, but in this chapter, he's going to be stupid just so we can stretch the plot line on as long as possible. It's like, I knew that they were the kids, in like 3 seconds, because the voice actor did a kid's voice for the old gardener.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. I never seem to really like the stories in the Professor Layton games, but the puzzles at least keep me playing.
And Missile said something there about how he hates...
Yay, Missile's back. Apparently he was over here the entire time.
He was inside the wheel the entire time. I just think that's funny dialogue, because he's a dog. He hates taking baths. Dogs don't like taking baths. But I read a fanfic where somebody wrote an entire fanfic about why Missile hates taking baths.
All right.
Sort of like Charlotte's Web, Missile was the runt of the litter, and they were going to kill him because he's this small, tiny dog.
That's sad.
Ran up, and they were, the owner was about to drown Missile and kill him because he's too small and he's a worthless dog and nobody likes him. And Kamila saves Missile. She says, "I'll take the dog, don't kill him."
This is a sad fanfic.
Yeah, but it has a happy ending because that's why Missile loves Kamila.
Okay.
She saved his life, and that's why he baths and loves Kamila so much.
So to get through this puzzle, what Michael did, you got to organize the fans in order of smallest to largest to get the pistons to line up the right way.
Which is not entirely obvious, but I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Smallest to largest. I suppose the other way you could do it is just by color, but yeah, smallest to largest. This particular puzzle, I don't think makes too much sense. I still don't.
No, I actually got stuck on this one for a little while because I didn't realize you had to bring Sissel up all the way to close off one of the vents, so I could never get her to climb through the hot steam.
Oh, okay. I mean, my problem was, I wouldn't say problem, but I solved it in 3 moves without realizing what I was doing.
Oh, that's another thing, is that you're supposed to look at the steam to see like which one has parts coming out the top and bottom to let, to give a safe path for Lynne, but you can also, it's pretty easy to solve just by guessing.
Yeah, I don't like it when that happens with puzzles sometimes. I haven't figured out what this puzzle is. I solved it?
Yeah, I accidentally... Lynne can die in this part if you take too long, and I know because I didn't figure out I needed Sissel up here right away.
Oh, so there is a time limit here.
There is a time limit. Yes, Lynne will drown, and then Sissel yells at you.
Is it game over, or do we go back in time to save her 4 minutes?
You go back in time, but immediately to this part.
Yeah, okay. Just like when Jowd was escaping from prison.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is sort of tricky, I guess, with moving Missile around, because, I mean, if you go from one pipe to the other, it's automatically going to say, "Oh, you want me to switch these pipes?"
That's the only sort of tough part.
But yeah, only 3 swaps, I guess, and that takes care of the puzzle.
Yeah, basically you just want the one that's spouting out hot steam from both directions and the one that you can turn off.
That would be an excellent time for Kamila to wake up.
Yeah.
So what are these things she's climbing up on the side of the submarine? Because this was the submarine ceiling?
Yeah.
Were those like
I don't know.
on the ceiling?
Yeah, she doesn't really use these parts to climb, but there's like this weird swinging chain that you can bring all the way down here that she'll use to hoist herself up.
Yeah, and the chain would have been on the right wall, so...
Right, and if you try to move it beforehand, you can't because it gets stuck on a pipe. So I'm not sure what the chain, what its primary use is supposed to be.
But like I said, this room is well designed, so we've got one puzzle, and then we've got a second puzzle, and then a third puzzle when the room is turned on its side.
Mhm.
Worked really hard on this.
Yeah.
And if you actually bother to watch the cutscene where, you know, we see the submarine and it does the slow pan out of the submarine, it's like they have all the rooms perfectly designed.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge submarine, but they designed it in a clever way to sort of optimize the amount of puzzles you have here.
So let me see, is Lynne holding Kamila up with her left arm?
She is really strong. She does not seem to be struggling at all. Uh-oh.
Not strong.
Still can't get the door open. Yeah. That would be a good time to use both arms. Kamila, please wake up.
Well, I mean, Sissel can open the door, so it's no big hassle.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Uh-oh.
it's...
Yep. This is actually where the game ends. It's a very disappointing ending.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah, well, we hope you enjoyed Ghost Trick, Phantom
Oh, no.
You know, he didn't do a lot of detective work in this game, I would say. What?
No.
What?
Luckily, there's a giant claw machine in the room above.
Yeah, huh. You know, I never
See, if this...
get claw machines to work. I could never get
No.
animals.
If this was a real claw machine, it would have dropped her back down and you'd have to use another quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I've never seen a claw machine with just 2 claw handles, too.
Or one that talks.
Anyway, we're going up to find the light, to illuminate the truth at the bottom of this deep, deep darkness. I'm getting philosophical rather than talking about things which actually matter. Okay, see you next time, everyone.
Yes, make sure you come to the next chapter. There's lots of story in it.
Mm-hmm.